Hello, everybody, and thank you so much for joining me for another episode to chat with an inspiring entrepreneur in South Africa who I have been friends with on Facebook for a very long time. And I feel very, very lucky to be talking to her today. Hayley, please will you introduce yourself and your business and just tell us a little bit more about what you do?
Hey, Mel, so nice to be here. And we were trying to work out how long we've been chatting on Facebook, and you said 100 years. It feels like I've known you my whole life. So
Absolutely.
I'm really privileged to be here, and it's lovely. It's lovely to finally be speaking to you. We've never actually spoken. Do you know that?
Yes,
It's
we
crazy.
haven't.
I mean, we've word spoken lots.
Yes, yes,
But we've never physically spoken. So,
yeah. I'm
Mel,
loving that
as
part
you
of Zoom.
know, yes, exactly. I'm Hayley Joy Weinberg, and I am the owner and designer of the brand behind me. I have chosen to sit here because it is the only place at work that I won't get interrupted. So that's hence you've got Hayley Joy behind me, and it's clean.
I love it.
We're in a printing mode at the moment. I'll go into that a little bit later with you. We print our own fabric, so we've got a crazy print going. We're short-staffed, so we're doing well. We're doing very well in lockdown.
And the printing, are you doing it digitally in-house?
Yeah, it's sublimation printing.
So you've got your own machine.
So I've got my own machine. I've got everything. Yeah.
So exciting.
Yeah. Well, we'll talk. I'll tell you how it all came to be. It's a very interesting story, and it's been the most wonderful part of my fashion design career, because literally from the age of like 20, I always dreamt about designing my own fabric. But let's go back. Let me introduce. So I am the owner and designer of this brand behind me, and I'm actually a plus size designer by trade, and I specialize in that. But I've got to a point now where Hayley Joy has actually become a size inclusive brand. And I really wish that Google would pick up the hashtag of size inclusive and pick up size inclusive, but it doesn't. It only picks up plus size. So as a result, I have to continuously use plus size in all my social media stuff. And I must be honest, I personally much prefer size inclusive. I just feel that it's a much kinder, it's a much more respectful, and it's actually a more honest way of describing all shapes and sizes.
Yes.
A couple of years ago, I actually woke up some crazy hour of the morning, and I had this vision of this hashtag, which I actually created, and I actually trademarked it because I was so passionate about it. And it is hashtag a shape, not a size. Because in my 35 odd years of specializing, I've actually come to realize that it isn't about size. It actually is all about shape.
Yes.
Because, we've got and the whole apple and pear and all of that, I'm like a little bit like, I think that's also for the past. For me, because I've been on the floor in a retail store dealing with all those shapes, I've come to realize, a lot of my girls have got great legs, can wear leggings. Their issue is around tummy and a big bum or a round bum or whatever. But the legs are fine, so they can do leggings. But they just need the top to be long enough to be proportionate to that tummy and that behind and the hips and all of that. So for me, it's really about a shape. But unfortunately, as I said, Google doesn't pick that up, so I have to carry on with the plus size thing.
Have you thought about speaking to them directly?
I never have thought about it. I hashtag all those tags, but I know from an SEO point of view that it is plus size is the recognizable one. YouTube plus size is the recognizable one. No, the problem is that nobody is really typing in size inclusive.
Yes.
If a woman is larger, she's going to go large size. These are actually the tags: large size clothing, big size clothing, and of course then plus size clothing. But nobody's going size inclusive, and certainly nobody's Googling a shape, not a size. Yes. So it's going to be up to me to continuously put it out there and actually build a movement around it, which I'm very, very excited to say I'm actually in the process of doing.
Yes.
I'm finally, I mean, it's trademarked, it's there. I may as well do something proper with it. And I have to say that the whole lockdown thing has been very, very interesting for me. The year didn't start off great in retail. You know that it's actually the last 18 months in retail in South Africa have been really tough. And I lost a lot of clients to immigration. I've lost a lot of clients to semigration, to the Cape and to Natal. And everything kind of seemed to shift into, everybody, it was the survival fight. And I got into that, which I've now acknowledged because I've had time to step back. And that was the gift that I got out of lockdown, is I got time, which I've never had, because I've been so busy putting one foot in front of the other, trying to just make it every month, that I never had a moment to step back and go, what do I love about my business? And what don't I love about my business? And I've now physically taken the piece of paper, written down what I love and written down what I don't love. And I've looked at the two and I've gone, okay, well, we can just, I'm over the word, but it actually is very applicable. I can pivot in a different direction within the same business.
Yes.
So in January, I was doing that thing that us entrepreneurs do when we're in a corner. I was starting to think of what else can I do?
Yes.
And quite honestly, there's nothing else I want to do. I love every single minute of my industry. I love it. And I love making a difference in the lives of women who nobody else really cares about.
Yes.
So I've come back to I've focused on the core of what I love in my business. And I'm really excited because I'm feeling energized. I'm feeling like I've rebirthed. And I've had to do some hardcore stuff, that entrepreneurial stuff,
Yes.
where you sit down and admit, what have I been complicit in that got me to the stuck stage? And I've owned it, I've admitted it. Okay, so moving on, what do we do now? And it's an incredible thing. And I hope that one day I can talk it in its entirety. But it's an amazing thing when you do that thing and you are honest about your complicity. And you don't blame the economy, and you don't blame the pandemic, and you don't blame clients immigrating, because there's always clients.
Yes.
When you own the stuck,
yes,
what has made me stuck? And what made me stuck was fear and complicity. I just got uncomfortably comfortable, and I just got up every day and I did the same thing every day. But in the back of my niggling mind was that thing that it wasn't right. It's a great product. It makes women feel fabulous about themselves. It's proudly South African. I literally do everything other than weave the fabric.
It's amazing.
So I buy, unfortunately, if I could buy local fabric, I promise you I would, but it's not available. But I'm supporting local importers. So in my mind, I'm still supporting South African, because I'm actually paying it locally within the country. So I buy the fabric, I design the fabric, I print the fabric, I design and make all the clothing in my own factory, and then I sell all of that clothing, because I'm the only brand that I sell within the store, in my retail store. So I have control of it from start to finish, which I like. I must say that that's been a big game changer for me. I don't ever fight about quality. I don't have the delivery issues and the shortages issues, and that's been, I think for me, it was a very important move. I mean, I've always made my own clothes, but I did have other people who were making for me under my label. And I'm not very good at managing other people's uselessness. I really am. I really am not. I'm just like, I had an experience with a supplier. We'd been working together forever, for about 5 or 6 years. And she delivered a collection, and all the labels were sitting, instead of sitting like that, all the labels were sitting like that. And it was like 4 o'clock on a Friday afternoon. I had a whole range of women coming in on the Saturday for this new collection. And I phoned her and I'm like, look at the pictures of the labels. And she's like, well, just return them on Monday and we'll fix them. I'm like, but you don't understand that, like, I have arranged, there are people expecting new stock. And I ended up selling those tops with those SKU labels. And it still haunts me.
Mm.
Something as simple and stupid as a SKU label, but it's about the pride thing. Like, what does it say about you as a brand? And what does it say about you as an entrepreneur, as a supplier, if there isn't consistency? And the one thing that I have at Hayley Joy, because I'm in control of it, we have quality consistency. I never, ever, ever have an issue where stitching's coming undone, buttons are falling, never. Like, it's not an option at Hayley Joy. And I'm proud of that. And those were the things that I focused on when I was working out, where am I going to go post-COVID? Because there's a very different world post-COVID.
Yes.
And what I like about it is that for all of us who've been lurking in the wings, not convinced that we were good enough or relevant enough or famous enough or whatever you want to call it, I think for us, there is a beautiful opportunity to step out and step up and own our space, Mel. Like you as well. I mean, you've been going at it for so long. And you're so, I mean, I marvel at how many groups you manage, and how I marvel and truly respect how generous you are.
Oh, thank
and I
you.
think going forward, it's going to be a big thing. I mean, I am generous in my sharing. I'm open to sharing. Like, I had somebody call me this week about printing fabric. And I just was dead honest with her. I said, it is a horribly expensive undertaking. And I do all the printing myself. My hubby and I do it all ourselves. We operate in 200 degrees of heat. It's very stressful when that is a machine of steel. It has a mind of its own. Nobody would believe it. One day, I'm going to video that bloody machine. And I promise you, it is the most frightening thing. You can stand and stare at it for 2.5 hours, and it will just print and print. Let the phone ring, walk away for 1 second, come back. The tissue paper's got all enmeshed in the fabric, and the fabric's twisting. And I'm like, what?
Ghost in the machine.
Yeah, no, it's like, but the printing of the fabric that's been a game changer for me. I cannot even, I've loved that whole experience. So that came about, interestingly, I wasn't very tech savvy a couple of years back, and I won a course, a Get Smarter, by the way, brilliant courses, brilliant operation. Nice, proudly South African company. Really, really, they were amazing. So I won this course, and I was going to get one of my staff. I was going to give it to her, and I was going to let her. I was like, not for me. This is like, I would never. So she says to me, well, what do you want to choose? I said, I don't know, just choose social media marketing or digital marketing or something like that. You're going to do it anyway, so it doesn't matter. A week later, she resigned. Unexpectedly, she resigned. Yeah, she'd got an opportunity to go and do film production, and she wasn't interested in me anymore. And
wasn't interested in getting smarter.
She was quite smart. She was quite smart. My universe clearly wanted me to get smarter. So it took her out of the equation. And I went into this 10-week digital marketing course, which was insane. And what happened was, in the background, there was this group, and there were all these youngsters in the group that were sharing links to all this insane stuff. And I started reading all of that, and I just started to like, oh my word, what is coming? And I mean, literally, this was 5 years ago. No, It was long ago, 6 years ago. What we're going through now was exactly what I was reading. I mean, it was insane, 2020 to 2025. Anyway, one night I'm scrolling through, and I see this article about that people are scrolling the length of the Statue of Liberty every day. That's how they put it. And that was 90 meters or something that we're scrolling on our devices every day. How were you going to stand out in that 90 meters? And they said back then, beautiful images were going to be the only thing that would stop somebody look at and then potentially read. Words were going to become defunct because people were going to just be so saturated with so much word. Anyway, I clocked this thing about the photos and whatever. And 2 days later, I'm on Facebook, and this advert pops up. I mean, it's so freaky, but this advert pops up for the iPhone photography school. And it's this whole thing about this course, this online course for iPhone photography. So I said to my hubby, do you think this is a sign? Because I'd said to him, I'm really excited about reading about the whole imagery thing. And anyway, he said to me, I think you should sign up. It was $100. And he's like, I'll buy it for you for your birthday.
Oh,
and
lovely.
It was life-changing, absolutely life-changing. A month into the course, there's a private Facebook group, and I started seeing people sharing all these apps. And I started looking at these apps, and I started playing with these apps. And literally 2-3 plays in, I was like, I can create fabric prints. I can this is like incredible. I can take a rose and I can manipulate it, and I can end up with something that doesn't look anything like a rose. But anyway, fast forward 2 years, and I'm now deep into loving iPhone photography. I'm chasing every bee in my garden. Love macro photography. The poor bees. I think when they see me walking outside, I think they all go, "Oh no, yes, she comes with her camera." I love bees. Anyway, so I just like one day I woke up and I was like, I'm going to go and Google and see if anybody's selling fabric printing machines. Anyway, I got to Epson, and they put me onto a crowd in Johannesburg who sell the machines, and I made an appointment to go and visit the machine. The night before, we'd had a massive storm in Joburg, and my hubby was on the roof cleaning leaves because the garage was flooding, and I was standing with a black bag, and I've always got my phone in my hand because I know there's always an opportunity. And the sky suddenly started doing these amazing things, and I started taking photos, and we go to the meeting with the printing machine the next day, and the salesman says to me, what do you want me to print? So I said, I took this amazing photo of the sunset last night, or this crazy sky after the storm. I said, so he says, send it to me. Now, I'm standing there with my phone, and I am airdropping him a photo from my iPhone of a sunset. And I was still slightly tech challenged then, not as bad as I'd been, but I still marvel at the world of all of that. It just blows me away. So I airdrop him the picture, he puts it into his laptop, he does a whole manipulation, and dunk, the machine starts printing.
Wow.
So it prints paper first, then he cuts the paper off, and then you take paper and fabric into a heat press. And within 1 minute, coming out on the other side was my crazy stormy sky.
Oh my goodness. That must have been so exciting.
I know you're getting goosebumps because you would relate the feeling. So I had my accountant and my hubby with me. And as this piece of fabric started falling onto the floor, the two of them looked at each other and said, we've lost any rationality that we might want to instill. We've lost. And I looked at them both and I said, it's a done deal. I want this machine. I have to have it. Yeah, it's a done deal.
Can I tell you a secret?
We bought the machine. Yes, tell me.
In, I would say, 2001, I dreamt of having a machine like that. When I was doing custom textiles for the fashion industry, I realized that I would have to make a choice between either buying a machine or sticking with analog, because you know how much I love handmade and I love the lino prints.
Yeah.
And I back then realized that it would be a money game, which I didn't feel I had enough money backing to play, because you've got to update that machine also at some point. And that I
Yeah,
realized,
I mean, I'm lucky that it's
I
it.
realized,
Yeah, it's still going.
yeah, I realized that eventually there would be lots of people who owned their own commercial machines who would be
Mm,
churning out cloth. And
yeah, but you know what, Mel? It's so expensive. That's the
yes,
sad part
yes,
of it. It is crazy expensive. Unfortunately, the
yes,
paper is madly expensive. The inks,
yes.
4 liter inks, is 6,500 rand. I mean, it's just
Wow.
like, and the electricity to power it.
Yes.
That's the big problem, is that it chomps electricity.
Yeah.
So you
Yeah.
were right in your thinking, around around the cost of it.
I'm
It's
just
it's
so
it's a
excited that
it's an
you've got
expensive baby.
one. When
Yeah.
I come up
I'll
to
what I'll do.
when I come up to Joburg, I
Yes,
want to come
please
see it working.
come visit. I'll send you a little video that I did yesterday of I have a WhatsApp list of ladies
Okay.
for the store, and I took them on a little journey showing them me printing. So
Okay.
I'll send you. It's fascinating, and I love it. And you know what the crazy? This is what I said to them. What the craziest thing of all is, I have my laptop, and there's a wire plugged into my laptop, and that wire goes to the printer,
Yes.
and I press print, and that still floors me. I mean, maybe I'm very old-fashioned, but let me tell you that the fact that this whole thing happens through a wire, it's just like, really? It's crazy.
I
So,
love
yeah, but what happened was I bought the machine and I knew nothing. I had never switched Photoshop on, ever. I'd never even looked at it. I mean, Photoshop was a beast that was like, oh my word, I would never. But what's really interesting is that if you can dream it, you can have it.
Mm.
You just need to have that determination. And I'm one of those people. If it doesn't interest me, I'll never learn it. But if I want to know something, I will go to the ends of the earth to teach myself how to do it.
Mm.
So my hubby says to me, okay, so great. So you've bought this machine. It's arriving in 4 weeks. How are you going to print fabric? I said, I don't know. I haven't worked that out yet. Like, okay. So he comes home. He's very dry, my hubby. He comes home about 2 days later. He says, there's this very nice young guy with me at CrossFit. He's a graphic designer. I'm like, bring him. Bring him, invite him around, bring him, because I need to pick his brain.
Yes.
This very humble, delightful young man arrives, and I said to him, Craig, here's the deal. I know nothing. You need to give me 10 steps in Photoshop that I can retransfer a billboard size image from my phone to Photoshop and create a print that will then talk to this printer next to me. No problem. And he calls me ma'am. I'm like, hey, just call me Hayley. It's like, no problem, ma'am. I'm like, no, you have to call me Hayley first. Anyway, he gave us 10 steps and he was laughing. He's young, Mel. He's very young.
Yes.
And I sat with a pen and a pad and I wrote step 1, switch on. Step 2, top left-hand corner. Step 3, Anyway,
I love it.
we sat. Hubby and I sat for 3 days doing step 1, and we would get to step 6, and then we couldn't get any further. 3 days. Eventually, I said, you have to phone Craig, and you have to tell Craig he has to come back. There's one thing we're doing that we're doing wrong. Anyway, Craig came back, and he went, oh, jeez. He said, you need to change that at the top to that. Change that. Done. And we started printing our own fabric.
Okay.
And it has been the most incredible journey because as a plus size woman
Yes.
and a plus size designer,
Yes.
I know what prints my clients want to wear.
Yes.
I really struggle to find those prints in those colors. Plus size women like wearing pretty colors.
Yes.
They don't want to wear maroon and mustard and forest green and brown. Do you know that combination? They don't want horizontal stripes.
Yes.
So I started creating vertical stripes. Very difficult to find and buy vertical stripes because when fabric's knitted, they knit it on a circular, and so it's always horizontal.
Yes.
And I started to do all the pretty colors, but I also
Yes.
started to run. So I don't do a lot, funny enough, I should do more on Facebook and that, but I have this very engaged list of women that I go out to. And I
Yes.
started engaging with them and saying, what do you want to wear? And I got things like butterflies and roses and just pretty nice things that are made for mainstream, but as you never see it in plus size. And I struggle to find those color combinations when I was buying fabric. And now I was just able to print them myself. And
Make
it's
what you
been
want.
the most incredible journey. Yeah, it's been, I always say, I mean, they don't like it when I say this, but I always say, if I died tomorrow, I would die happy because I printed my own fabric.
I
And I
remember
did vertical straps.
I remember watching you on the social networks when you started using the technology, and your excitement was palpable.
Oh,
Yeah,
thank you.
it's amazing.
I love technology. Now I'm just blown away by what is available. And let me tell you what I'm most blown away by is this WhatsApp list that I go out to. There's 600 women on that list.
Wow.
And I go out to them definitely once a week. In prime times, I can go out 2, 3, 4 times a week. That technology that enables me to talk directly to a client without them being in my space, and to service a client in Canada and service a client in Brisbane in Australia and somebody in Germany, and this constant, hi Hayley, I'm flying in from New York next Monday morning. I'm coming straight to your store from the airport. Can I order, and will you have it ready for me? I fly back out on the Friday. I mean, in the old days, Mel, if you think about that, you could never have done business like
Not
that.
possible. Not
And
possible.
I think also this lockdown has, as you say, it's done that thing where it's exposed. My clientele is mostly an older clientele, and I am now seeing the fruits of this, where they've been forced to learn a bit more technology.
Yes.
And I'm loving that because it's just making it so much easier to connect with them. But WhatsApp, for me, doing business on WhatsApp is just, it's incredible. I mean, it's trumped everything else that I use.
So what I'm really loving about your story, there are 2 things that I'm loving about your story, because we have to start to wind it up. We're going to run out of time. The 2 things that I'm loving most about your story is your wonderful story of transformation, because so many people have said to me that they feel frustrated in this time because they can't do what they used to do. And I keep saying, but it's an opportunity. If there's no revenue anyway, this is a great opportunity to haul the guts out of the business and re-engineer it completely.
Yeah.
And you've done
100%.
just that.
Yeah.
And
I'm so excited.
The other thing I'm loving about what I'm hearing is how you've seen the benefits of the situation that we're in, and how you really are connecting with your technology in new ways to make it work for you. I think it's such an inspiring story for other entrepreneurs who are watching. So,
Mel, thank you.
To wrap it up, a couple of closing comments, and where can we find you? If the viewers watching here want to get hold of you and buy some of your beautiful garments, where should they look for you?
Okay, so I'll do that as I close off. One thing that my closing is this. This is the greatest lesson that I learned out of this whole thing. If you look after people in the good times and you serve them way above ever selling to them, in the bad times, they're going to be there with you all the way. I had a client message me. So about 2 weeks into lockdown, I connected with them and I just wanted them to all know that I was doing fine and we were going to be fine. I had a client connect with me and message me on WhatsApp and say, my husband wants me to tell you that if you need bridging finance, interest-free, to see you over this period, he is more than happy, because if you go out of business, his life will be misery.
That's so beautiful.
It was so beautiful. But yeah, for me, what I've done is I've served those clients in many different ways. I share clothing, I share story, I share life, I share feelings, and I think that that's my message in all of this. And through lockdown, I didn't go to ground through lockdown and go, well, I can't talk to them because I don't have anything to sell to them. I didn't sell to them. We just chatted and I shared my feelings and my views. And as I was transitioning, I shared those transitions with them as well.
Yes.
So that's my closing, is that, remember that when times are good, the client that spends $1,000 or the client that spends $10,000, there's no difference. Look after everybody equally and serve them before you sell to them. Because that, for me, as it's proved its worth, that we're all so connected now because they were determined that I was going to stay in business. And they reached out in masses. I could not believe the reach outs from so many of them, voice notes and type messages and phone calls, and like, Hayley, we're here and you cannot go out of business because we will all walk around naked if you go out of business. So Mel, this has been so great talking to you, and I can be found at hayleyjoy.com. So www.hayleyjoy.com is my online store website. I'm at Hayley Joy Shop on Instagram and on Facebook.
Okay, fantastic.
And that's pretty much where and if anybody wants to join my WhatsApp list, they can just send me a DM or something on Facebook or on Insta.
Okay, that's awesome. Thank you so much for sharing your inspiring story
Thank
with
you.
us. That was
thanks,
fantastic.
Mel. Yay! Fabulous. We'll chat soon, and lots of love to you. Stay